live on your tablet, phone, and the KUTV app. This is 2 News Live.
Yes, it is. Thanks for joining us on 2 News Live. I'm Brian Schnee. It is Wednesday, March 23rd. We're going in depth tonight on several topics. We have a look at day 3 of the Gwyneth Paltrow trial. Plus, Governor Spencer Cox signs 2 social media bills into law, how this could impact you and your children, and a busy start to 2023 for the Utah Department of Public Safety Aero Bureau. We have some new numbers for you, some information on how the need for their life-saving services has grown. Before we dive in, let's take a look at what's making headlines tonight. You can see here a lot of these stories you can find on our website right now, KUTV.com. A gymnastics gym owner in Woods Cross under arrest. Police say Adam Jacobs installed hidden cameras in bathrooms and boys' locker rooms at his gym. He's facing charges of sexual exploitation and and also video voyeurism. Both of those charges on the table right now. Lori Vallow-Daybell has been moved from where she was incarcerated. East Idaho News reports Vallow-Daybell was transferred from the Rexburg facility in Madison County to the Ada County Jail in Boise. Vallow is scheduled to face a jury on April 3rd. Also making headlines tonight, renovations at the Salt Lake City Temple are taking a little bit longer than expected. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints announced today the project is expected to finish in 2026 instead of 2025. Final headline for you tonight. This is a big one. The Utah Utes women's basketball team in the oh-so-sweet 16. The 2-seed Utes take on the 3-seed LSU Tigers tomorrow. Tip-off set for 3 p.m. in Greenville, South Carolina. As we go in depth tonight, you can always get in touch with us by using the hashtag 2 News Live. Join the conversation there on all of those social media accounts. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You could always send me a direct message there to weigh in. Let's weigh in on the weather. It's something we've been doing basically every day for the last 2 weeks since we started the show. Right now, crews at Zion National Park are working to repair some roads. Rock slides in the area damaged a lot of the infrastructure. Some new video we got from park rangers today. This is Zion Canyon Scenic Drive and Kolob Canyons Road. Crews are making repairs there because there were some very large debris, boulders, rock fall that came down onto those roads. So if you're heading to the national parks, whether it's Zion or, Capitol Reef, whether it's Bryce Canyon, any of them can have closures, whether it's snow or rock fall impacts. So you might want to check before you make the drive.
And you know what? Those rock falls are more active when we have drastic temperature changes and moisture. So you get that moisture in some of those cracky rocks and it freezes and that pops the rocks off the wall.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned the precip, which I was aware of, but where's the drastic temperature change? Have I been missing it?
Well, we're talking about, we should be right now at night down at Zion National Park, we're getting into the freezing mark.
Gotcha.
Instead of up into the 60s and 70s where they should be. So we're going from 50s down to freezing, back to 50s, down to freezing, and that's not a good thing for cliffs and rocks. But we have a lot of active weather across the state. Let's get to it and show you what's going on. There's some gnarly clouds out to the west of Utah right now, or west of Salt Lake, I should say, coming across the Great Salt Lake. There's a line of it. You can actually see it on the satellite picture that's developing. It's right here. There it is. So this is something we're tracking right now. And then the next thing we're tracking is this cold front, which is out here in the Pacific Northwest and has moved on shore already. That's going to be marching in here tomorrow morning. This evening, if you want to get your cameras out, you can get some pictures of some gnarly clouds as they come through and then post them on Chime In. Here's the line right here. This is it. And you can see that there's some pretty good storms, some lightning with these storms that are moving toward the Wasatch Front. They're already just about to Brigham City now. So you're going to see some increasing wind, some gusty winds, and some possible brief heavy rain or snow or graupel, whatever's coming out of those clouds. And we'll continue to watch that move right into the Wasatch Front over the next hour or two. So this is going to be kind of interesting to watch. Hopefully we'll get everyone home safe tonight. Down south, we saw all those scattered showers of snow. Yes, snow in the higher elevations, still rain showers in the valleys, and still a few isolated thunderstorms as those storms move through. We've also got some scattered showers down in Utah County, as you can see, all the way down toward Juab County. Nephi, Delta is seeing a few showers, and some lightning in those storms too. So we've got a very unsettled, unhappy atmosphere tonight. Okay, winter storm warning in effect through noon Saturday for the mountains of northern Utah. How much snow? 1 to 2 feet of snow possible. And at the top of the Cottonwoods, 30 inches of snow possible. And for drivers and everybody else around the region, we've got a winter weather advisory in effect for all of the Wasatch Front counties, including down toward Richfield, down across eastern Utah, the higher elevations of eastern Utah. We've got those winter weather advisories in place through noon Saturday. High temperatures tomorrow only in the 30s. These are January type temperatures that we don't normally see this time of the year, but it kind of keeps that snow up there and keeps it from coming down too quick. About 9 o'clock tonight, we've got another little shot of rain. Another 3 a.m., maybe some rain and snow across northern Utah. And for southern Utah, things pick up in the morning, 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. It looks like we've got a pretty good chance of seeing some showers there. And the precipitation amounts are pretty light until 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. But then after that, watch what happens here along the Wasatch Front as that cold front marches in. We go from 1/3 of an inch to 1/2 an inch to 1/4 of an inch to Logan, almost 6/10 of an inch, to Shane, 1/4 of an inch. So we've got some snow totals up here in the north, not so much down in the southern part of the state. Below normal temperatures, below normal precipitation. That's what we're looking, above normal precipitation, I should say. Cold and wet is the forecast out across the west. Here's the forecast for the next 7 days. 50s, 60 degrees on Monday. There's sun through the weekend. But look at those overnight low temperatures in St. George. 33 degrees for a couple of nights in a row, and windy. Tuesday and Wednesday, we've got a little bit warmer, but a chance for some thunder showers on Wednesday. For Salt Lake City, we've got the temperatures in the 30s for the next 3 days, and then 40s, and then we kind of try to get up into the 50s. We'll see if that actually happens. 50s, 51, and then look what happens Wednesday and Thursday. Another one, another cold front comes in, more rain, more snow, cooler temperatures. Nothing on that chart right there is normal.
January temps in late March as we get into April here already next week. That's
However,
crazy
I
to
am
think
normal.
of. Normal. Sterling's back with us now. And he is normal as we have this conversation.
That's right.
He's not giving off too much heat. So when do we have the inevitable shift? When does this change where,
hopefully
like
gradually.
a light switch, that's what happens?
Hopefully gradually. By the end of May, we should be in the upper 70s. But in May, we can have record-breaking temperatures, as we talked about the other day, up in the 90s. So we don't want that to happen. We want to keep it in the 50s, 60s, 70s as we move through the next 3
What
to 3 months.
Do you actually think that will
I think it will
stay
be.
gradual?
I think it'll do that, and maybe a little bit slower. If it's too slow and we wait too long, there's a possibility of getting boom. All of a sudden, it's 85, 90 degrees. That's what happened in 1983.
Okay. So when the 83 floods occurred at what point of the year?
Same time, spring, May.
So that was the concern time.
Yeah.
So that's when we should be looking at.
That's
If we haven't
exactly
had
right.
that gradual warm up,
Yep.
that's when things should definitely
the end of May and
take a
early
turn.
June. Look out.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you, Sterling.
Yeah.
Well, with more snow on the way and rain in your area, we want to make sure you are prepared. Use your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, download the 2 News
bet.
Weather app today. We will get you that live radar forecast at your fingertips, right on your phone. Plus, before you head out the door, you want to tune in to 2 News this morning. They'll have the latest on road conditions as well as weather updates starting bright and early tomorrow morning at 4:30 a.m. Another topic we've been going in depth on all week long, the civil trial in Park City involving Gwyneth Paltrow and retired Utah doctor Terry Sanderson. You know who's been there a few days? Our very own Brian Malahy. He's here once again outside the courthouse in Park City. Brian, what were those discussions and testimony that took place today?
2 days in a row, but who's counting, right? Today, we heard from a long time on the stand from a daughter of Terry Sanderson. Her name is Polly Grasham, and she recounted a couple of things. For the plaintiff, she recounted how her dad changed after the ski accident, according to her, and that he was confused, and that he was frustrated, and he was irritable, and just suffered symptoms of a concussion. For the defense, for Gwyneth Paltrow's attorneys, the questioning was about what was it like, what was he like prior to the ski accident. So among other things, the defense is saying, you know, he had a stroke and he was very focused on himself, said that he would be famous because he crashed into a celebrity. And then after the crash happened, went to South America and Europe on vacations. Not something that someone perhaps who is suffering greatly might do. That was the suggestion by the defense. But it was a back and forth, a give and take here today. And Grasham was on the stand, the daughter, for hours answering questions.
Brian, something I found interesting is you were talking about this earlier on 2 News at 4. There may be a video somewhere out there that exists that
Right.
would perhaps show this collision and show maybe a little bit more indication of what actually took place and who has the right to point the finger at the other at this point.
Yeah, the defense asserted that today in court, asked Polly Grasham about that, and said, you know, where is the link to that video? And she said, well, it's in this, speculated that it was in the cybersphere. Did that video exist? Does it still exist? If it existed, where is it now? So those are some of the obvious questions raised about that video. One defense attorney today calling it potentially the most important piece of evidence in the case, because that could conceivably show who hit whom on the beginner run at Deer Valley in 2016. Did Terry Sanderson run into Gwyneth Paltrow? Did Paltrow run into him? That seems to be something that really hinges on this case. One other thing I want to mention, tomorrow, Gwyneth Paltrow is slated to be called by the plaintiff's attorneys to the stand. So is her accuser, Terry Sanderson. So tomorrow could be a very explosive day if they get to all the witnesses, because there's a long list, and this could go into the plaintiff's case into Monday.
Day 3 of this trial, day 2 for our Brian Malahy there in Park City. Brian, thank you so much. The head of TikTok is in Washington, D.C. this week to testify before Congress as lawmakers weigh the app's future in the United States. Now, many lawmakers here feel the app should be banned in the U.S., saying it's a threat to national security and to American teenagers. TikTok is owned by the Chinese internet company ByteDance. Today, TikTok CEO pledged to keep safety a top priority and to protect the platform from Chinese government manipulation. He said TikTok has built a firewall to seal off American user data from Chinese access. More than 150 million Americans use the TikTok platform. Now let's go in depth on a topic that impacts you and your children. A couple hours ago, Utah Governor Spencer Cox putting pen to paper on a few bills right now that regard social media companies and their policies for our children. Daniel Woodruff with us now. Daniel, you have looked into these bills, you've talked to the governor about them, and they had a lot of conversation throughout the session. What do these bills do specifically?
Well, there are 2 main bills that were the focus of the legislative session that he signed today. One of them, House Bill 311, it would basically make it easier to sue a social media company over harm to children. That's kind of a main factor of it. It also prohibits a social media company from doing anything, having a feature or a product that would cause a minor to become addicted to the platform. So that's one bill. The second bill, Senate Bill 152, that would require companies to verify the ages of all users, and then anyone who's under 18, the companies would have to get parent permission to have their children have an account. It also limits the hours that a child could access social media. So from 10:30 at night to 6:30 in the morning, they would not be allowed to access their accounts. Those are some of the things that the bill does. Both of them combined got a lot of attention this session.
A lot of this sounds very familiar from the State of the State address.
Oh, he really laid a foundation with the State of the State. Governor Cox did, basically saying social media companies, you're on notice, we are coming after you. And they delivered on these 2 bills that attracted the opposition of the tech industry generally.
Well, you signed these, but what happens next? How do you enforce something like this? Do you know what the next steps would be after this takes place?
So that was discussed during the hearings, and I should note that there were many testy hearings between lawmakers and tech representatives on this, and how would this be enforced, and how do you do this in one state and not others? And to that end, some of the bills have been basically given a later effective date. Some of the provisions of the bills, for example, in some cases, they won't take effect till March 1st of next year. And that was by design to give basically everybody this chance to figure out how exactly to enforce this. I don't have to figure that out, but it will certainly be a big discussion over the next little while about how exactly is this implemented, the parts that are delayed down the road from taking effect.
Any moans and groans from the opposition to this at this point?
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, the testiness was on display on Capitol Hill, and it hasn't abated. And there have been discussions of a lawsuit. Governor Cox has talked about how he believes there will be a lawsuit over these bills, but he's been pretty bullish on the state going to court over this, and he's been pretty vocal about social media media companies and what they're doing to children. So he says he welcomes a lawsuit. You definitely haven't heard the end of this topic just with the bill signing today.
I was going to say, I don't think we're done with this one.
No, we'll talk more.
All right. Thank you, Daniel.
Thanks, Brian.
Tonight on 2 News at 10, a busier start to a year than they've ever had before. We're looking at the Utah Department of Public Safety's Aero Bureau, which is not only a crucial rescue resource, but an invaluable asset to law enforcement on the ground. Now, one of our 2 stories on this airs tonight on 2 News at 10. So going in depth on this now, I spoke with Chief Pilot of the DPS Aero Bureau, Luke Bowman, earlier today. He's been with the department for more than a decade, but I asked him how things have changed over the years. Take a listen.
We used to go do a lot of search and rescue, and we would go and find people and then, shuttle search and rescue crews into place so that they could set up a rope rescue and do the rescue, things like that, or just do our best with the camera. But as far as technology and, with the implementation of the hoist and things like that, the mission has just changed dramatically in the last 5 years since we started hoisting, especially, but it's changed quite a bit. And so that role of the tactical flight officer has grown, but with the technology and the better cameras and things like that, and then now having full-time guys that were more readily available, the law enforcement side has grown a ton too. And so, 5 years ago when we put the hoist in place, it really changed our game search and rescue wise to where now we could be more beneficial. And even that has changed recently with, Garmin InReach and iPhone 14s that you can, more people are getting better, better prepared and have more technology to where they can let people know where they're at. There's still just as many people in trouble, but now there's less search element involved and more just the rescue side of it. So it actually cuts down on our call time per mission, which is great. It's before we'd spend 7-8 hours on a mission, and now we're able to do that a lot quicker.
We'll hear more from Luke in just a moment. This is some video from last week's hoist rescue of one of those 3 hikers that did survive in Kane County. Remarkable because this was just one of many search and rescue operations that these helicopters responded to last week alone. I want to show you some data right now. Let's take a look. In 2021, the Aero Bureau had 348 overall missions. Just last year, they had a record year though, 538 missions. And these missions include search and rescue, hoists, and also law enforcement assists. That's surprisingly a big one. Now, let's look at their record year compared to where things were in 2022 by just looking at about a 3-month window. Up until yesterday, March 22nd, they had 99 missions in 2022. They found 17 people, 3 hoists, and 28 arrests. Look at the jump from year to year. This is this year, same time frame. 194 missions already flown, nearly double. Finding 74 people, that's well over double. Same for this stat, 34 hoists. They've been busy. And how much have they assisted local law enforcement from the sky? They've contributed to 105 arrests.
This isn't our busy season, right? So we're having a crazy year already with call outs and rescues and law enforcement and stuff like that. We're just go. And we haven't even got into the busy season yet. And so, we're still trying to figure out what that busy season looks like in St. George, because this is the first full year of that base in operations.
Again, our piece on this airs tonight, 2 News at 10. I had the chance to do some training with the Aero Bureau in Utah County. We'll give you a look at how these operations look from a seat in the helicopter right behind the pilot herself. That's tonight at 10, and also a more in-depth look at training. You got to wake up bright and early for that one, though. That's tomorrow morning on 2 News This Morning, about 6:45 a.m. We're covering Davis County tonight, where Lagoon Amusement Park isn't open yet. It's going to delay its 2022-2023 season opening. The park will open next Saturday. Can you believe that's April 1st? Maybe they're playing an April Fool's joke on us, Sterling. In a note to 2 News, a park spokesperson says they were going to open this weekend, but due to the winter-like weather, they've decided to postpone. Lagoon's website says they'll open weekends through April and most of May.
So it's Mother Nature pulling the April Fools.
That's what they're saying. A reminder, you can watch 2 News live on your phone, tablet, or computer. You can stream our newscasts, KUTV's mobile app, Stir News on YouTube. Hopefully you're watching right now, but if not, you can always go back and watch again later. You can find all of this on the Apple app or Google App Store as well. Thanks for watching 2 News Live. He's Sterling Polson. I'm Brian Schnee. Actually, we're back tomorrow.
Yeah, and also we're back tonight live on 2 News at 10 o'clock after all the basketball.
We're letting you come back tomorrow. Did you hear that?
I'm coming back tomorrow? Yes, I am. We're gonna. It's a double play.
2 News Live, Monday through Friday, 5:30 p.m. That's where you find us. Enjoy the March Madness. Hopefully you watch us too. Have a great rest of your Thursday. We're back for Friday. Take care.
Or maybe that's a double.